Do you express your emotion to your woman? I said, no. Why would I do that? Oh, and they tried to kill me. But I don't. And the reason why, because as a man, you are to protect, provide, and love. And women are emotional and caring. So if I'm telling her I have a bad day, now it's two people with bad days.
Is this really what it's come to? Shaquille O'Neal, a man who makes his living or a part of it by talking, commenting on basketball games, saying he doesn't tell his woman he's struggling because he doesn't want to burden her. I think, as you'll see, there is more to it than just not wanting to burden her. I think there's some underlying reasons, right? Shaq isn't alone, though, in this, what he's saying. In fact, he's saying what millions of men think, but never say out loud, especially high achieving entrepreneurial husbands. They carry the weight of the world quietly, believing that silence equals strength. But here's what most wives don't realize: your husband may not say much, but he feels deeply. And when he doesn't feel safe, understood, or respected, he shuts down. So today we're unpacking what Shaq's comment really means, why men like him don't open up, and what you as a wife can do about it. And spoiler alert, it's not found in learning from another woman telling you what men need. It's found in understanding the heart of your husband. Hey, I'm Kingsley Grant, licensed marriage and family therapist and author of The Joyful Wife: Seven Connection Skills to Better Understand Your Husband, Rekindle Love, and Deepen Intimacy, which is available on Amazon. If you're here for the first time, welcome. And if you're serious about building a stronger Christ centered marriage, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. You're in the right place. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. So, what do you think about what Shaq said? Now, here is the part that I want to zone in on a little bit, where he says, I take care of it. That's just how it's going to be. Let's watch this piece again and see what he says.
As a man, you are to protect, provide, and love. And women are emotional and caring. So if I'm telling her I have a bad day, now it's two people with bad days.
Mm.
I don't tell my woman I'm having a bad day. How's your day? Oh, I'm good, baby. I got to take care of it.
This is a voice of someone who has concluded that it's better if he approaches relationship this way. This is learned behavior. This is emotional survival mode, right? Would you think? Would you say? Many men were never taught how to feel, much less express. I remember growing up, and what I would hear often in the time that I grew up was big boys don't cry. Did you grow up hearing that, or have you heard that? And so what happened is we were kind of conditioned by our culture and society that we as men, we should not show our emotions, because showing our emotions make us weak. I cannot tell you the amount of men that I've worked with in coaching and counseling. Number one, those who do come for counseling even thought that coming to counseling is not for them, because you must be weak to come to counseling. That's the mentality that many men have, because that's what they were taught. And so what I find is that many of them who do come, they will say to me, man, I didn't want to come. And they'll tell me that they came because their wife made them, or they're back against the wall relationally, and it felt like they had no choice. There are some who do come because they've understood what the benefits of it, right? But what we grew up here and what most men, I wouldn't say most, but many men have heard is that they should never express their emotions because they were not taught how to even feel their emotions. They were told to suck it up, be strong, provide, protect, and that's it. If you are a man watching this, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you're a wife, which I hope as you're watching this, have you ever heard your husband share that, talked about that at any point? Let me know. I'd love to hear in the comment section. But let me just say this. That's a myth that men don't have emotions or men don't feel. Maybe in your relationship with your husband, because he may not share his emotions, right? That somehow you may think that I guess it's true. But here's the truth. Men have emotions too. We do. And I'm telling you because I know as a man, I do have emotions. And I've met many who are like me. We do. We may not show it, but we do. Most men just don't always have permission to feel them, right? When I say permission, it could be like they're so busy, they have so many different things on their mind that they'll say, I don't even have time to show emotion because their head is down working hard on that business. Proverbs 20 verse 5 says, the purposes of a man's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. Wives, let me just say this. Dear wife, you are meant to be that insightful companion, but you can't draw out what you don't understand. And this is not an insult to your intelligence as if you are not smart enough, but please hear me out on this because you're going to see how well meaning woman can be. Maybe this could represent you as you watch this other woman as she shares from a well meaning position. And what she talks about in this, as I would say, well meaning is not enough. Let's watch what this woman had to say.
They want that best friend in their house. They want to walk inside of their house and feel like they see eyes light up. Men actually care about these things, but they don't know how to generate that. They don't know how to create that. So once he starts to understand his woman, I teach him leadership skills about how he communicating effectively.
She meant well, no question about it. She even said men want partnership. They want that best friend at home. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. But what she missed is that what men want most, especially high achieving entrepreneurial husbands, what they want most, can you guess what that is? Respect and to feel supported as if their wife has their back. They that's a high priority for them. Respect isn't about ego. It's about emotional security. And when she said, I teach him leadership skills, she unknowingly stepped into dangerous territory. I know this may sound a bit, mansplaining, as some may say, but it's important to understand this. And I don't apologize for this because here's a reality. A woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. Cannot. When I hear sometimes on Father's Day, a person say, my mom is my father. We understand. I understand what they're saying, but it's not because a woman she cannot transfer masculinity to a man, to a male. Can't. It's impossible because she doesn't understand. She doesn't have that makeup, that mindset, the way men think. She does her best. So it's not to somehow make light of what many women have to face as a single mother. And I get it. And my hat's off to you if you have been a single mom. And I understand that. I understand that. But doesn't mean because that's true, a woman does her best that she can impart masculinity because she cannot teach a man how to be a man. She can inspire him, encourage him, but she cannot impart what only another man can model. This is why many wives feel stuck because they're learning from people who don't actually understand their husbands. I spent years helping wives of high achieving men, entrepreneurial men, husbands like yours. I've helped them decode what's really going on. When I wrote the book, the look here. When I wrote my book, the seven, the joyful wife, this is what I had in mind. And the first thing I said here, 7 connection skills to better understand your husband, rekindle love, and deepen intimacy. But I begin with understanding your husband. And I outline it in the book, that very thing, because I believe the more you can understand him, then probably there is less assumption being made. One of the things I say quite often is this: the more you understand, the less you judge. The less you understand, the more you judge. And so when I was writing this book, I had that in mind. If I can help a wife better understand her husband, she will judge less. She will judge less and possibly not project on him what she think, what she assume is happening. And more on that in a minute. So let me know in the comments, do you think a woman can truly teach a man how to lead as a man? Would you agree with my assessment, my thoughts? Again, I would love to hear, but let's be civil. Let's have a conversation. I'm looking for that, and I will engage with you. And I'd love to hear in the comment section. Now, here's the thing: your husband might not cry, he might not journal, but he's communicating through what he does. That's what he does, right? So he shows his love for you by the extra hours at work, the quiet moments alone, the silence after conflict. That is communication. He's saying something. These are all messages, but many wives, unfortunately, miss it. And I don't want you to be one of those who do. Why do they miss it? Because they've been taught to look for words instead of signals. Instead of signals. Emotional intelligence isn't about saying more, it's about hearing or listening better. Want to draw your husband in? Try this. And maybe this is not the words you would use, but you can substitute the word that I'm going to give you, the very first word, with however you might say it, right? Babe, honey, I see how hard you're working. I know you carry a lot. I appreciate you. Thank you. I cannot tell you what that does for a man. I know what it's done for me in my own relationship of 40 years, 40, since 1985, I've been married. So I know what it's like for me, like your husband, when my wife is able to communicate those words, something like that to me. It makes a world of a difference. And I talk about that in the book where I shared a little bit about how she have kind of fell into, not that she knew, we kind of worked over the years on figuring out how to best interact and communicate. And she kind of fell into what worked because she tried something. And I shared it in the book, what she tried, and it clicked. And when it clicked, she realized she can do more of that. And she did. And it's made a difference. So what that does is that language, that kind of language opens him up, not pressure, not criticism. And as one of the men in the video shared, when men feel like they can't talk to their wife, they talk to God. He said, only God knows what I'm going through most of the time. But let's hear in his own words what he had to say. Let's watch this a little bit about what he had to say, even when he talked about with his wife. Let's watch.
When I'm going through stuff, half the time, don't nobody know what I'm going through other than God. God be the only one knowing what I be going through. I talk to God about what I'm going through, and usually God gets me through it. Because what it look like you telling your woman, you know, the things you're going through, and you the one supposed to be protecting and providing for her, and she's supposed to be confident in the fact that, you know, that you're strong enough. So my advice, so that you don't go through things by yourself, is talk to God always. God knows everything. God is the one who created you, created the whole entire world. God knows everything. Talk to God. And then also too, in addition to that, if you want to, talk to other brothers, other men about what you're going through that you trust, men that you trust. If you don't got no men that you trust, that you could talk to about, you know, what you're going through, just talk to God.
What do you think? Do you think he has a point? Let me know in the comments. Again, I want to hear from you, your thoughts on these things, because I don't believe that I have a corner on all of this. I do have some opinions myself. And in my opinion, he's right. Sometimes the only place a man feels safe is in prayer. I cannot tell you the amount of times when there's something I feel within our own relationship, my wife and I, that I take it to the Lord in prayer. And I spend time with God in prayer and reading the Bible, and I leave it there. And I'm sure she probably do the same thing with some things when she has to work to deal with me. It's taking it to the Lord, put it in his hand and leaving it there. But that should not be the only option. It's the best option, but it's not the only option. He also said, talk to brothers you trust. If you don't have any, talk to God, but don't carry it alone. And here is where this foundational truth is embedded. And this is where I've shared, you may have heard if you've been watching sometimes. If you're not, here's what I say. Embracing the mind of Christ is the fastest and most impactful way to build a joyful, lasting marriage. Because Christ understood emotions. He wept at the death of his good friend, Lazarus. He at times withdrew because he's so drained and he had to renew his own energy, right? He loved deeply. The Bible speaks about that at different times, and yet he never, ever stopped leading. That's the kind of emotional balance your husband is capable of. He just needs the right atmosphere to grow in. And here it is, dear wife, you can create that. Yes, you can. Now, here's the thing. If you're tired of feeling like you're the only one trying to connect, if your husband works a lot but feels distant emotionally, I want to encourage you to join the wait list for the upcoming free webinar, How to Reconnect with Your Husband Without Feeling Like You're the Only One Trying. If you're interested in that, you can go to Build Your Happier Marriage, buildyourhappiermarriage.com/waitlist, and you'll learn real practical steps to rebuild connection without becoming the nag or feeling invisible, right? And then this is where I think would be very helpful for you. And if this video you've just watched brought you insight or challenge your thinking, remember, comment, let me know. And also hit that thumbs up button, and share this with at least one other wife who needs to hear it. And again, if you have not yet subscribed, now's a great time to subscribe because you don't want to miss conversations like this one here on this channel. Now, here's a question I want to leave you with. Do you believe women can help each other understand their husbands? Or should they be learning from men who actually is like your husband, is a man? Should they be learning from them more so than another woman? Let's talk about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And let me just say thanks for taking the time to watch and comment. And I look forward to you being here for the next video. And may the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Make your relationship, your marriage, shine brightly and become all that God intends for it to come. That's my prayer for you and your marriage today. God bless you. Peace out. I'll see you on the next video. God bless.